In the aftermath of the 2024 presidential election, a former aide to Vice President Kamala Harris has proposed a provocative strategy. President Joe Biden should resign within the next 30 days, allowing Harris to assume the presidency. This suggestion has ignited a firestorm of debate across the political spectrum, raising questions about democratic principles, constitutional processes, and the future of American leadership. The proposal. The core of the proposal is simple yet profound. President Biden, who has faced significant criticism over his leadership and age, would step down, enabling Vice President Kamala Harris to become the first female president of the United States. Advocates argue that this historic moment would be a milestone for the gender and racial equality, symbolizing progress in a nation that has long grappled with issues of representation and diversity. Harris, as a woman of the African American and South Asian descent, embodies a demographic that has often been marginalized in American politics. Supporters believe that her presidency, even if short-lived, could inspire millions and pave the way for future generations of women and minorities in leadership. Critics' response: undermining democracy? However, critics have been quick to label the proposal as undemocratic and even manipulative. The fundamental argument against this suggestion lies in its perceived circumvention of the electoral process. Critics assert that the presidency is a role bestowed by the people through elections, and any attempt to bypass this process risks undermining the core tenets of democracy. They argue that orchestrating a resignation to achieve symbolic milestones devalues the voice of the electorate and sets a dangerous precedent for future political maneuvering. Conservative commentators in particular have expressed outrage, suggesting that such a move reflects desperation within the Democratic Party. They view this as an attempt to salvage political capital following an election cycle that saw significant losses for the party. The proposal has been framed by some as a strategy to distract from policy failures and declining approval ratings. Constitutional implications. The proposal also raises significant constitutional questions. According to the 25th Amendment, if the president resigns, the vice president becomes president and nominates a new vice president, subject to congressional approval. This process is designed to ensure continuity of government during times of crisis or incapacity. Utilizing this mechanism for political strategy, critics argue, deviates from its intended purpose and could erode public trust in constitutional safeguards. Public reaction. The proposal for President Biden to resign, allowing Vice President Harris to assume the presidency, has elicited a spectrum of reactions from the American public. Advocates view this move as a significant advancement for gender and racial equality, believing that Harris's leadership could introduce innovative perspectives and policies. They argue that her presidency would symbolize a progressive shift, challenging long-standing norms and inspiring future generations. Conversely, critics perceive the proposal as a political maneuver that undermines democratic principles. They contend that orchestrating such a transition circumvents the electoral process, potentially setting a troubling precedent for future governance. This debate underscores the enduring tension in American politics between upholding traditional democratic values and embracing transformative change. Historical context. Historically, presidential resignations have been rare and typically driven by scandal or incapacity. The most notable example is the President Richard Nixon's resignation in 1974 amid the Watergate scandal. In that instance, Vice President Gerald Ford assumed the presidency and later nominated Nelson Rockefeller as vice president, both of whom were confirmed by Congress. The current proposal differs in that it is motivated by symbolic aspirations rather than crisis, prompting concerns about its appropriateness and potential consequences. The role of bipartisanship. The suggestion that Vice President Kamala Harris appoint former Representative Liz Cheney as her vice president introduces a complex dynamic into the political landscape. Proponents argue that such a bipartisan ticket could symbolize national unity and present a formidable opposition to political extremism, potentially attracting a wider range of voters disillusioned with partisan divisions. They believe that combining Harris's progressive vision with Cheney's conservative principles might bridge ideological gaps and foster collaborative governance. However, Critics express skepticism about the feasibility of this partnership. They highlight the substantial policy differences between Harris and Cheney, questioning the practicality of harmonizing their divergent stances on key issues such as healthcare, climate change, and foreign policy. Also, concerns arise regarding the potential alienation of each leader's core supporters, who may view such an alliance as a compromise of fundamental values. This debate underscores the challenges inherent in pursuing bipartisan cooperation in a deeply polarized political environment. Media coverage, shaping public perception. Media coverage of the proposal has been extensive, with outlets across the political spectrum weighing in. Conservative commentators have criticized the suggestion as a desperate attempt to salvage a faltering administration, while liberal voices have debated its merits in the context of advancing gender equality. The media's portrayal of the proposal has influenced public perception, contributing to the polarized reactions observed nationwide. Potential consequences. If implemented, the proposal could set a precedent for future administrations, where orchestrated resignations become a tool for achieving political or symbolic goals. Critics warn that this could lead to instability and erode public confidence in the democratic process. They argue that the presidency should not be subject to strategic manipulation, and that such actions could have unintended consequences for the governance and national unity. The path forward, balancing principles and progress. As the nation grapples with these discussions, it's clear that the path forward requires careful consideration of democratic principles, constitutional guidelines, and the diverse perspectives of the American people. Balancing the desire for progress and representation with the need to uphold democratic norms is a complex challenge. The debate underscores the importance of thoughtful deliberation and the potential risks of prioritizing symbolism over substance in political decision-making. The proposal for President Biden to resign and allow Vice President Harris to assume the presidency represents a defining moment in American politics. It challenges traditional notions of leadership transition and raises critical questions about the intersection of symbolism, strategy, and democracy. As the conversation continues, it serves as a reminder of the complexities inherent in governance and the ongoing evolution of the nation's political landscape. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos.